I wanted to go over today an example of how you do confidence intervals using StatCrunch. However, before we do that, I want to do one thing regarding StatCrunch. A lot of times in the homework, I've noticed that StatCrunch may not open directly from your homework assignments. So what I would do before you even start the assignments is pull up the StatCrunch website right here from the menu in My Labs. And if you go over here to StatCrunch website, it'll open a web page where you can actually open StatCrunch in a browser tab. So now it's in a browser tab, and then one thing I would do is kind of reposition it on your screen, on your computer screen, so it's kind of by itself over to the side. You'll see this whenever I start to do a problem, how I have StatCrunch kind of side by side the problem that I'm going to be showing. So this is just a helpful way to kind of work your homework while you have StatCrunch open. Okay, let's look at this problem right here in chapter 7.1, where we want to take our sample data, which they just given us an N, an X, and a confidence level, and it wants us to actually construct a confidence interval for the population proportion. So we're going to show you basically how to use StatCrunch to make these confidence intervals that you'll be making in chapter 7. So what we want to do in StatCrunch, we want to go up here where it says Stat up the very top. And for us, we're wanting to do proportion stats. Now, this, we only have one sample. In most all your problems, that's what's going to be the case. You'd have to have like 2 N's and 2 X's if you had 2 samples. So we have one sample here, and we're going to do with summary, because all we have is just the X and the N. We actually don't have the full data of whatever they have collected. So this will be with summary right here. And then once you open this page, you're going to see like number of success at the top, which will be where your X goes. And then your number of observations is where your N goes. Okay, so we'll put those in just like they have right here. That'll be our X. This will be our N. And then down here under perform, you do have 2 options. These are both the options that we talk about with inferential statistics, hypothesis testing and confidence intervals. So hypothesis testing is reserved for like chapter 8 problems, where it asks you to take sample data and test some claim. Since we don't really have a claim that is in the problem that we're testing, it does ask us, in fact, to make a confidence interval. We're actually going to pick this confidence interval option. Now, we want to pick the 0.95 as our level, our confidence level. So it tells you right here in the original problem that we want a 95% confidence interval. So that's where we're going to put our 95%. Definitely make sure you change it to a decimal before you enter it in. And you don't have to really change anything else. You don't have to put anything else down here. Just hit compute. And then you'll have an output right here where you have your summary. Now, what you want to look for your confidence interval is your lower limit, L limit, and your upper limit, the U limit. Those numbers right there are going to be your confidence interval. So for this problem, we want to find the one that matches these numbers right here. The 0.778 if you round 3 decimal places, and the 0.883, which it'll be the A option actually, for this problem right here. Okay? So that's how you use StatCrunch to make a confidence interval. We'll do another example too, just to kind of show you a variety of problems you might get. So here's another problem where it asks us to look at a clinical trial test, a method designed to increase the probability of conceiving a girl. It says in the study of 580 babies, 319 of them were girls. It says use the sample data to construct a 99% confidence interval to estimate the percentage of girls born using this method here. That's not really talked about, but it just says a method. So what we want to do here to make a confidence interval, or basically to make our range of values, we want to go over here in our StatCrunch to Stat, Proportion Stats. We only have one sample given, and we do have the summary. We don't have the full data of boys and girls, like what all babies were what. So we're going to do with summary, since we're just given the values of all the babies and then the number of girls. So we want to do with summary for this data, and then our number of successes That's going to be the number of girls for us. In the original problem, it says we have 319 girls. And then the number of babies, the observations will be 580. You always have to have your second number be larger than your first. So if you get this backwards, you will get an error from the one sample proportion summary thing. So the second number always has to be bigger. And then since we're doing a confidence interval, we want to pick the second option right here, confidence interval for P. Now on our problem, it actually wants us to construct a 99% confidence interval. So we're going to have to change this 0.95 to 0.99 right there. And then once you put all this information in just like this, you don't have to really change anything else. Hit compute at the very bottom. And the number we're wanting, our confidence interval will basically be 0.496. And we want to round it to 3 decimal places, so 0.497. And then the top number will be 0.603. So we'll put it in just like this, 497. The top number will be 0.603. And that's basically how you do your confidence intervals using StatCrunch. And then you can answer some follow-up questions about the problem itself. This one talks about the trials are designed to increase the probability of having a girl. If you look here, 0.49 to 0.60, so 49% to 60%, basically that's kind of close to the 50% that's normal. So I would say that this does not appear to be effective. The proportion of girls is not significantly different from 50%. 50% is like your normal amount of girls. So based on your confidence interval, you can sometimes be asked follow-up questions where it asks you, does something appear to be effective? Does 50% fall in here? Well, yeah, it does. It falls between 49% and 60%. So this definitely doesn't appear to be effective because it's not that far away from what we normally expect. Now, if it was like, if it had going from like 70% to like 83%, I would probably say, yeah, it's effective. But since it's 49% to 60%, definitely not effective. So that's basically how you want to do problems related to confidence intervals with StatCrunch.